Hey, and welcome back to Adventures with Dice. I'm Rob, I'm your host, and in this video we're going to be talking about epic encounters. And are they epic? Let's see. This copy of Epic Encounters was sent in off my Amazon wish list by one of our viewers who wishes to remain nameless, so I will not name that person. But this is the Epic Encounters Arena of the Undead Horde. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Epic Encounters, there's a whole series of these, a slew of them. There's a bunch of them, right? And you can get these, and they basically come with, they're 5e compatible, right? So you can run them with 5e D&D, or because it's 5e compatible, it's pretty easy to adjust it to any OSR or retro clone that you're playing. Or maybe you just want to steal the stuff out of it and use it in another game too. But each box either comes with a whole bunch of small miniatures, like goblins, orcs, kobolds, undead, skeleton type miniatures, or a big miniature like the Queen Lich or the Red Dragon or whatever. And the miniatures look amazing. I'll give them that. And they're made of a fairly firm plastic. I haven't tried painting them yet, but when I do, I'll let you know what I think of it. But like this one, you have this adventure, and then you have, it kind of ties into the big boss adventure, so you get the one with the Queen Lich, and you can play. But you don't have to. You could just get this and just throw this in as a game one night. You say you need a quick game, don't have anything planned, you could grab one of these. So first things to talk about, as far as determining whether it's epic or not, is the price, right? So each of these box sets, if you get them at your local game store, are about $50. So it's a lot, but like these, you get like 20 miniatures. They're all pretty much put together. I think the dragon you have to stick the wings on or something, but you don't have to put them together. They're already based. They're ready to be primed and painted, and they come with some other stuff in here. I'll show you in a minute. So it's not bad, but if you want to support your local game store, which if you play there, you definitely should. If you like shopping there, you definitely should. But if you are looking for a better deal on them, on Amazon, these run about $30-35 a piece, so that's significantly cheaper than buying them at local game stores. That is entirely up to you, how you would like to do it. I have a bunch of these on my wish list, by the way. But let's look at the back of this one. It says, box includes 20 miniatures, 7 unique sculpts, double-sided game map, adventure book, monster stats, and tips and tricks for building tension and excitement. And in this one, the Arena of the Undead Horde, because whoever got this for me knows how much I love using undead in my games. In the heart of a cursed necropolis lies a crumbling arena where death is both the fate of the performers and the nature of the audience. The city's skeletal guardians range into the land, if I can read correctly, of the living, capturing poor individuals and dragging them back to the arena to fight for the entertainment of an unliving crowd. The victims are a brief spark of life in an otherwise undead city, extinguished all too soon as the phantom onlookers fall silent once more. And then it has a picture of the contents back here. So let's pop it open and let's see what's in there, okay? So the first thing that you'll notice is this is really a sturdy box. Like it's good. And I love that. I know that's kind of a dumb thing to some people, but I love having game boxes that are really sturdy. They're really going to hold up against the test of time, because I may want to use them to put other game products in for transportation or whatever. And I hate flimsy game boxes that fall apart. But this ain't falling apart anytime soon, unless like somebody really fat sat on it, I guess. But anyway, it's really thick card. It's really well made. You can use it as a dice box too, I guess. But they're also good for, like, if you're getting a bunch of stuff together for the night, you can put it all in the box and set it off to the side and be like, this is the stuff I'm using tonight. Anyway, that's enough about the box. So when you open it up, That's what it looks like on the inside. The first thing we're going to do is see this Epic Encounters book, which has a picture of the miniatures on the back, and it has some really cool art in it. Actually, I really like the art that's in here, and it has a story about this necropolis and what's going on, and advice on how to play the arena, locations. It has a chart for the crowd and what kind of cheering they're doing, how it affects the battle going on in the arena. And then you have a section on enemies, reinforcements, starting points, and then another full page of art. And then a breakdown of the arena map telling you what's what. Because the map itself has things on it to affect gameplay, like the portcullis, the spike pit, fire nozzles, trap doors, a tar pit. Let's see, and then you have the same thing for the other side of the map, which is the training pit. And you know, it has training dummies, weapon racks, main door. And then it goes into the stats, the 5th edition stats for each type of model that's in the box, which has an Iron Skull Skeleton Archer, an Iron Skull Leonite, the Iron Skull Knight, Iron Skull Executioner, Iron Skull Duelist, Iron Skull Death Rider, Iron Skull Anabata. I'm not sure I'm saying that right. And then it has a credit page for the Epic Encounters team, and licensing agreement. And then it tells you, trying to sell you more. It tells you about preparing for more. The next stage up would be the Tower of the Lich Empress. There we go, Lich Empress. And then there's a picture of her model all painted up. But like I said, because these are 5th edition stats, they are D&D stats. So you can pretty much use this with any retro clone or OSR game that you're playing and adjust stats as needed, or you can just use stats for that you do yourself. So the next thing we have in the box is the double-sided map, which is pretty cool. It's gridded out. Very nice looking, very detailed, if I can quit dropping it. And it is double-sided. That's the training side. Now, I don't know that I would run this particular scenario. I don't know that, undead snatching people for an arena fight for their own entertainment interest me enough to run something like that. But I would probably I will use the miniatures out of it for sure. I will probably use this map just because it's a cool map and it doesn't have to be an arena. You could use it for a lot of different things. An undead temple, for instance. And I'll probably just adjust stats out of here, make it closer to basic fantasy or something that I'm using and use it like that. And I would probably do that for most of these Epic Encounters just because I don't play 5th Ed. And if you play 5th Ed, then it's set up ready to go for you right out of the box. Well, here's a neat thing, and I'll get to why it's neat in a minute. Then the next thing in is the miniatures, which are in a protective case in here. And every one of them has their own pre-cut, shaped thing to go in the plastic, so they all fit only one way. But you pull the cover off, then you can obviously get to each miniature. But we'll pull them out. This is the Leonite. I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see them on this camera. I'm going to have to do something to get better cameras. But I'm telling you, the detail on them is amazing. It's like an undead lion type thing. You get 2 of those, I think. Yeah, 2 of those. These are 2 that they call the Rider. It looks kind of like an undead centaur or something. Stop dropping stuff, dude. Yeah, you get 2 of those. And they all have these decorative bases, but then they're already on a regular black base. I really like that. You get 2 of these big dudes. I don't remember what they're called. But they're just huge skeleton guys. I really can't get the camera to focus that well on them. But yeah, the detail on them is really, really good. So you get 2 of the lions, 2 of the minotaur thing, or whatever these guys are. 2 of those big dudes. Then when you get 2 of these guys who've got an arm off. Yeah, that camera's just not doing the trick. Making it really hard for you to see any detail on them. You just have to trust me, the detail's really good. It looks amazing. I actually can't wait to paint these guys. So you've got 2 of each of those I just showed you. Then you have 2 of this guy. I think this is the executioner. And then you got 4 of this guy, which is another skeletal guy. He's got a big sword. And then you have 6 of these skeletal archers, which is really cool because you don't see in miniature lines, in most miniature lines, you don't see a whole ton of skeletal archers. And I always want to use skeletal archers, and I was really excited to find that I had 6 of them in this box, because there's so many times that monsters don't have ranged attacks, or they're not set up with ranged attacks. You have to give it to them when you're preparing an adventure. And I just feel like if I've got skeletons that'll fight with swords and big axes and things like that, then I should have skeletons that would fight with bows, because a lot of my characters, my players, they're going to do ranged attacks until they have to do melee attacks. And in that case, I want to be able to do ranged attacks back. So I was really excited to get these 6 skeletal archers, and I'm going to use them very soon. Perhaps in a Ravenloft game that's coming, or that's already started. But the miniatures look great. They look like they're going to take paint really well. And you have a couple of options here. You could paint them up, throw them in your miniature box, or put them on your shelf, however you're going to use them, and use the box for something else, like I was talking about earlier. And that's fine. That's a great way to do it if you want to have quick access to them and you don't want them back in here. But if you put the plastic cover back on, basically you've also got a box, a miniature box that holds your miniatures. Like they're held in here. They're not going to flop around. They're in very specific compartments in here. So you keep hold of that, and then you have basically storage for these guys. Which, if you're collecting this stuff over long periods of time like I am, your storage becomes an issue. It's already an issue here. But anyway, you put everything back together, and because they don't flop around in the box, you could just line these up on a shelf in your game room, and the miniatures aren't bouncing around in there, getting beat up, getting the paint chipped on them, or anything like that. So, what do I think? This is the only one of the epic encounters that I have, but I am looking forward to getting more. And if you'd like to help the channel out and get me to review some more of them, they are on my wish list on Amazon, which is in the description of the video. But aside from that, I'll probably eventually pick some up myself, because I'm actually really impressed. I find these to be very epic. I find it pretty easy to convert things from 5th ed to the rule set that I use for D&D. So it's great that they give me some different stats and different weapon type stuff for the different types of skeletal monsters in here. And the models look absolutely freaking amazing. None of them look like just your standard skeleton with a sword. They all look freaking amazing, and I really do. I find it epic. I think they are great. I don't frequent my local game store because I don't have one real close to me. enough to justify $50 a box, because I think that's a little hefty, especially for the ones where you just get the one big miniature. And that being said, I mean, if you play Warhammer, then $50 a box for a box of miniatures is probably, you know, something you're used to, because I used to play Warhammer. But for D&D, it may seem a little pricey. That's why I was pointing out that you can get them for about $32 to $35 on Amazon, which is, I think, a much more decent price. It's not that I don't think they're worth $50. I just think that because I want so many of them, I know how expensive that will get, so I hate that they're $50 for a box. Because I would definitely want to get the Lich Empress one. The kobold, there's a kobold set that has a bunch of cool looking kobolds in it, and then there's a red dragon standing on a pile of treasure that is the big monster for that one. And then I know there's one for goblins, and I know there's one for orcs, but I can't remember which one what big monster they have. I know one of the big monsters is like a giant worm, but just I've looked through all these different ones, and they just all look really, really amazing. So, you know, there's that. Yeah, if you're looking for getting some miniatures and you can spend $50, or you can spend $30 to $35 on Amazon, I think Epic Encounters is a great way to go, especially if you are building up a miniature collection for using with D&D or a D&D-ish game. Because you get, you know, 20 orcs or 20 goblins or 20 skeletal monsters or whatever. You get all that in the box, and that gives you a good amount to run a big fight with. And if you don't have, or which I already have tons of them, because you've watched my channel for any amount of time. Not only have I bought miniatures over the years, but I also do a lot of 3D printing, and I've printed tons of monsters, including skeletons and orcs and goblins, but I would still want these because I think they're really, really cool. I think the poses are really unique. They're not something that I've seen in other stuff 100 times, and a lot of times that's what you get with a lot of these pre-made miniatures is, this goblin looks just like this goblin from this other line. Everything I've seen here looks really unique. So my personal opinion is, yes, I think the Epic Encounter boxes are pretty epic, and I highly recommend you checking them out if you're wanting miniatures. If you just play Theater of the Mind or use tokens for miniatures because you don't care, then obviously this is not something for you. You don't want to spend that kind of money. But if you like having cool battle scenes on the board and cool looking miniatures, then yeah, I recommend picking up a box of Epic Encounters and checking it out. I'll probably post some pictures. If you haven't joined Rob's game group on Facebook, it's a group page. There's a link in the description of the video. I'm probably going to be posting some pictures of these as I paint them, because I have another video that I want to work on the Ultimate Dungeon Terrain from, that I saw it from Dungeon Professor over at Dungeon Craft. I did my own right here, and I do like it, but after using it, I kind of wanted to expand on the idea. So there's a board behind it, which is my Ultimate Dungeon board. And it has modular dungeon terrain and everything that you move around to build rooms and put your dungeon dressing and stuff in. And I want to do a video, on it, but I'm also going to be posting stuff on Rob's game group as I get it painted and whatnot to kind of show it off. So if you join Rob's game group on there, you can get to see some of that a little sooner. And I don't know, I've been toying around with the idea of doing a Patreon, just because it would be nice to be able to upgrade some of my equipment, maybe get a better camera, and some better mics and lights and stuff like that. So I may end up doing a Patreon. I'm toying around with the idea. Right now what I'm working on is what are the rewards, because I want to be able to give whoever my patrons are special access to stuff. Like there'll probably be exclusive videos just for them, possibly live chats and things that are just for Patreons or patrons. But I don't know. I haven't worked out all the details on it yet. I'm still playing around with that. But hey, all of that aside, yes, I recommend Epic Encounters. I think they're pretty epic. I think that if you like miniatures, you're going to love these. And tell me what you think in the comments. Have you picked up Epic Encounters? Any of the boxes? Did you like them? Did you not like them? You know, what are your thoughts on it? Outside of that, you know, do the YouTube thing. Like, share, subscribe. Helps the algorithm. There's several ways to get in touch with me, contact me, or help the channel in the description of each video. And until next time, my friends, good gaming and good luck.